What an amazing panel with Beyond Sport. You know, it's a perfect example of how an entire sector can rally around the Sustainable Development Goals and really move the needle, connecting the dots across different goals, across different sectors, across different partners to really escalate and accelerate what needs to happen around the world. Bringing in young people, bringing in professional athletes, bringing in commercial entities, TV channels, networks, teams, associations, organizations, and really moving the needle and injecting the much needed energy into what needs to happen over the next 11 years, 10, 11 years. My name is Dauda Jabarte. I'm the global head of the SDG Strategy Hub. We are curating, alongside our partners, the SDG Action Campaign, the Action Zone, where all of you are here. Those online are watching. We're really excited to have you and to be able to provide and enable this space for you. A little bit of housekeeping. Emergency exits, emergency exit, emergency exit. There are bathrooms outside on the lawn. There is a coffee table and stand in the next tent right over in the media center. We will be singing Happy Birthday to the Sustainable Development Goals. 4 years ago today, they were adopted. They set up the framework for the world, signed by 193 leaders. You know, in today's geopolitical situation and environment, the one thing that everyone agrees to and has agreed to are the Sustainable Development Goals. They are adopted, they're being implemented, they need to be accelerated. This is a space where we're inviting people to come in, reflect on that, share their lessons, share what is working, and really help others in getting to that next level, getting from incremental to exponential. We have an extremely packed day today. We started off with sport. We're moving to local authorities and cities where most people around the world, many people around the world live in. Again, looking at how an entire ecosystem is rallying around the Sustainable Development Goals. We're then going to talk to women leaders about how they are doing it both in public space and sector as parliamentarians as well as within business. We have an amazing announcement from the World Economic Forum and their partners. Again, looking at how the technology sector and partners can come together and rallying around the Sustainable Development Goals as another example of what this space is providing. Enabling a space for what's happening in around New York in other venues and other places. Some of you have access to it, others may not. It is available online through WebStream, but we're bringing them in. We're inviting the space for it to be able to be amplified and reflected on, you know, how to, again, get us further, faster. We then have a session where we're talking about the SDG activation. Those of you may have seen there was a Sustainable Development Goal flotilla that received Greta upon her arrival here in New York. It was an example of the UN enabling and connecting both sectors and leveraging opportunities for Sustainable Development Goals. We took over 11 billboards in Times Square through partnership. We, as you see up on the Visitors Plaza, the UN is colored with the Sustainable Development Goals. We have a partnership with New York City and Link NYC on the street kiosks. We're in all 5 boroughs throughout New York, projecting the idea that now is time to act for people, for planet. These are some of the things that are happening here today. In terms of the reach of the SDG Action Zone, for People for Planet, the hashtag has reached over 30 million people since we've gone live, through 50 million views, and the SDG Action Zone itself is being watched by 10 million people around the world since we've gone live 3 days ago. So in addition to what's happening, thank you. It was a lot of popsicles and a lot of lost sleep, but definitely worth it. And my team will know exactly what I'm talking about. We are super excited. We're inviting up to stage Penny, who's the Commissioner of International Affairs in the Office of New York City Mayor's Office. They're proud partners and members of the SDG Strategy Hub and are really helping drive things forward with regard to this space. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I don't have popsicles, but I have SDGs for you. I'm really excited to welcome all of you to our to our signing ceremony for the Voluntary Local Review Declaration. Just as some background, New York City is honored to be host to the largest diplomatic corps in the world, which includes the UN headquarters and 193 permanent missions. And in 2015, when the world leaders got together and agreed to the Sustainable Development Goals, New York City right away mapped our synergies with our own development agenda, which is called One NYC, to the SDGs. And because of Mayor de Blasio's strong equity lens, when we talk about sustainability and resiliency, we had synergies with all the SDGs. So we launched a platform called Global Vision Urban Action, and we have spent years hosting conferences and site visits to ensure that some of the best minds around the world that are working to localize the SDGs are getting into New York City and seeing how we're doing it, whether it's on a sludge vessel or a community garden. And so we have been very actively engaged around what does it mean to localize the Sustainable Development Goals since 2018. But an exciting opportunity came up in 2018. You know, the voluntary national reviews, national governments are invited to submit during the high-level political forum. We wanted to see if we could take a little bit of that space and showcase how New York City is doing our leadership here around the 5 boroughs. So we worked with the UN and UN officials and the Secretary General, and they agreed to a concept we called the Voluntary Local Review. So in 2018, during the high-level political forum, we submitted the first ever VLR. And so we are very excited now to be able to have seen a movement develop around this. The mayor of Helsinki was the second mayor to sign up, and I think, you know, this is a really important dynamic and relationship, because in this voluntary local review, it is really important to note that this is not about undermining or usurping member state sovereignty. We are simply part of many efforts to achieve the global goals, and something that Finland proved through Helsinki's engagement is that the Finland government very proactively is supporting all their towns and cities throughout Finland to participate in the VLR project or process. So today I'm really excited to introduce, please, if our guests could come up, the Executive Director of UN Habitat. Sorry, I don't have everybody right in front of me. Max Foley, our New York City Junior Ambassador, the UCLG Secretary, and then the Assistant Secretary General for Policy and Coordination. We have, please have a seat. Thank you. Guys, I'm usually a little tighter on the mic. I just had a little personal emergency this morning, and so I'm throwing off a little bit, so apologies. But we are really excited to be here, and it's really my honor to turn to one of our junior ambassadors. Just as some background on the program, as we as a city started working on the Sustainable Development Goals and working with our city partners and experts throughout city agencies, we also knew we had to talk to the most important among us, and those were the New York City taxpayers. And how best to communicate to the everyday New Yorker the importance of the global goals is by activating young people. Our junior ambassadors are from our 5 boroughs, whether it's the South Bronx or Staten Island, and they are, you know, leading on issues like, for example, SDG 14. Their commitment at home is cleaning up the South Bronx River, but that's how we're taking this global movement and bringing it really to our community. So, Max, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, and hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Max Gallant Foley. I'm an 8th grader at Oliver Wendell Holmes in Queens. I've been part of one of New York City's dual language programs for 9 years now, and my schools have taught me the value of multiculturalism and diversity in a global environment. All of my classmates are from different parts of the world, mirroring the wide array of culture in my borough. This has helped me become aware of issues taking place on a global scale. I'm also a junior ambassador. For those who don't know, the Junior Ambassadors programs bring students from all over New York City to work together to provide solutions and bring awareness to modern-day problems. We focused on Indigenous rights and how they are being affected so direly by climate change. Astonishingly, I discovered the disparity affecting the Indigenous communities, and it was through this program I learned about the Sustainable Development Goals. The most compelling thing to me about the SDGs is that they are all, in a way, related to one another. They're designed to work together to achieve equality and sustainability on the planet. With respect to action on climate change, youth activists have inspired me to join them in this movement. Youth represent the future, and this is going to be our problem as youth to solve. Climate change affects people unequally, and eradicating climate change would be a step toward global equality. As we all know, youth led a global day of action last Friday. Over 185 countries participated. Here in New York, I joined tens of thousands who marched. SDGs show people rising up together. Because we can't wait until everyone agrees on what to do, we need to start taking action now. Think for a moment of a grand tree. Remember that it did not start that way. It began as a tiny seed. Only after time does it grow branches, sprout leaves, and bear fruit, reaching towering heights. Like this tree, today's SDGs are seeds. In time, they can also branch out, sprout awareness, and bear fruits of justice. By rising up and working together, no matter your age or where you're from, we can be the start of a forest of sustainability and equality covering the entire planet. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Executive Director of UN Habitat. I think she has been an early advocate and supporter, and she was there sitting next to me when we presented our voluntary local review in 2018. And I think the most important fact about her as an ally is that she is a former mayor. Ms. Executive Director, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm very, very happy to be as a former mayor and now the executive director of UN Habitat. And you know that UN Habitat is is an agency that become the bridge between the national government, regional government, and local government. And as a former mayor, I understand the importance of localizing the SDGs at the local level. That's why last year, during my first year as an ED of UN Habitat, that assists New York to submit the voluntary local review to the HLPF. I think it went very well, and I'm very happy and also healthy. And now I was informed that there will be a signing of the commitment from the 16 cities. And I hope that there will be more cities will be signing and also come up for the voluntary local review. And I also would like to invite you to the World Urban Forum for 10 next year in Abu Dhabi from 8 to 13 of February. And I would like to offer the platform for all of you to submit and also to commit for the local review, voluntary local review, and let's use the World Urban Forum as our platform, as a city's platform. And even today, in the environmental management group, I mentioned in my statement saying that urban context in the loss of biodiversity is very, very important. Don't forget the cities, but I didn't mention leaving no one behind. I used to say in the Global Task Force, yeah, Emilia, leaving no mayors behind. But I am with you, mayors, and please let us work together and use whatever platform and the bridge in UN Habitat can help you, and let us partner and collaborate together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I'm really pleased to also announce that UN Habitat is a formal partner validator to the Voluntary Local Review, and we really look forward to being at the World Urban Forum to continue to recruit cities and local governments to this movement. Now, it is a pleasure to introduce you to the Assistant Secretary General for Policy Coordination and Interagency. If we didn't work quite so well with the UN, we wouldn't be here, so I really appreciate all of your partnership.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a pleasure to address this lively audience, this group of committed mayors and local governments. I have, first of all, the pleasure to recognize your work, your great work you've been doing in order to help implement the Agenda 2030. and then the honor to support you in doing so. Your leadership is crucial for us. It can't be done if it's not done at the local level, together with the governments, as Penny said, but also at the local level, closer to the people. So it's my pleasure really to be here. What a great week we are having this week at the UN. We are just yesterday, with many of you, I recognize you, we were in the second high-level local and regional government forum, and we heard many of the commitments you have taken and the new action you are willing to introduce to implement the SDGs. Acceleration action, let me highlight, is very important, otherwise we won't make it. And it is urgent, and it is now. So I really applaud to this commitment to new acceleration actions. But today, I'm so pleased to see this pledge, this declaration being signed from the local governments to develop the voluntary local reviews and to commit to making the SDGs a reality for all. As you said, leaving no one behind is crucial. And the subnational level is crucial because it will bring comprehensive and meaningful follow-up to the agenda. So I'm so happy that I am able to give the Department of Economic and Social Affairs that I represent, DESA, the support to this action. And by way of conclusion, I will invite you all to use the website to advertise, to make more visible what you do, so to register your actions in our SDG Summit website. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the UCLG Secretary General. This is indeed a team effort, and she has been leading this team for many years, so it really is an honor that you're supporting our effort and we're partnering together. Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you very much, Penny, and thank you, everybody. I think we need all the help we can get. That's the fact. And for us, the voluntary local reviews are not only reports, right, Penny? I mean, for us, the voluntary local reviews are instruments for accountability, instruments for innovation. That's why we do it. And so we need kids like you. You are a great ambassador. I'm really jealous. I hope someday I can vote for you as a mayor somewhere. So we need people like you to go to your local authorities, to the local officials, and challenge them to show you what they are doing so that we can improve things. That's how we look at the voluntary local reviews. We also have a more complex political aim, okay? So we're very pleased that we have so many cities signing up for this voluntary exercise. But as a network, as United Cities and Local Governments, representing 250,000 of us around the world, we want to push national governments and the international community to actually take those voluntary local reviews on board and to see them as part and parcel of the review of the agenda. And so what we can offer as a platform, as a network, and as facilitator of the Global Task Force that engages over 28 other organizations, is, well, convincing others to join up and pushing those across the road in the building next door to listen to us and to make a space and formally engage us in that discussion. But really, local governments do not have time to face a very negative narrative. We need to listen to the hopes and the expectations of the communities. And we think the voluntary local reviews are an excellent tool to do that. So let us work together, and please hold us accountable and push your local authorities to do well. Thank you.
Amen. And that's actually an excellent place to conclude this panel, largely because that's exactly right. This is not a reporting, this is not just a reporting exercise. In fact, the mayor of Helsinki and I were speaking at something yesterday, and he said what really is important about this is that it's a movement. And the reason that it's a movement is that youth, it is activists, it is active community members can now go into their communities and to their cities and local governments and say, what are you doing about local localizing the SDGs. This is not just some, wonky UN policy term. This is about quality education. This is about safer streets. This is about clean water. And I think that is actually what is very exciting about it. Thank you so much for reminding us. Thank you all panelists. It was great to have you. And I think we are now going to transition off and then invite the mayors. We are very excited for this declaration. Thank you. We have the mayors of Helsinki, Freetown, and Mannheim joining us today. Excellent. Now we get to hear from the people that have to do the work. Mayor, you and I had a conversation in early 2018. It was around the time that the UN had expressed interest in a voluntary local review, and we had this meeting, and you right away said yes. Can you tell us why and how that process has been as you've worked with your city and your colleagues to get your voluntary local review done?
Thanks, Penny. My very first task as a mayor when I took office for roughly 2 years ago was to draft a new city strategy for the city, which then was adopted by the city council some 2-3 months later. In that city strategy, we state that the most important mission of my administration, the most important mission, is ensuring sustainable growth. So you could say that sustainability has been in the core of everything we have been doing and thinking already for a long time. We in Helsinki, we have been able to cut CO2 emissions by 42% per capita already today. I think we are the only capital in the world which have been able to reduce remarkably long-term homelessness and so on. But so far, I think we have only been acting like locally. What we were missing was a global context. And what happened then was that I met Penny. And I think that's why we are here. I dare to say on behalf of all of us that we are extremely grateful for the city of New York, and especially for you, Penny, for your personal leadership, for creating the concept of VLRs, and not only doing that, but also encouraging other cities to join you. I don't think it's a tiny, tiny seed anymore, but it's not a grand tree either. I could say that we could be proud of our achievements, but not satisfied. What we really need is a global movement, but we have a very good beginning and very good start. Thanks especially for you, Penny.
Thank you very much. And this was a team effort. Our office, Alex Hineker, which I think you all work with, were the brains behind this. But it really has been the building from the global vision, urban action. And you hit on something that I thought I don't say enough, but I really think this is why we're all here, is that the SDGs give us a common language and framework to work beyond borders. I just met the mayor of Freetown maybe 72 hours ago, and because of our common language around the SDGs and the way that we talked about issues, it was an immediate connection. It is such an honor to have you here and to be part of this voluntary local review declaration. Mayor, please tell us your journey into the SDGs and the framework. You've been in your role for a year now?
A year and 4 months.
A year and 4 months, and she also has one of the best mappings I've seen of the SDGs to her local goals.
Thank you so much, Penny, and good morning, everyone. I think the perspective that I can bring to this is really demonstrating that the SDGs, as Penny had said earlier, they're not something up in the sky, they're not sort of some bubble language, but they're really real. Why do I say that? I came into office a year and 4 months ago into a city that had significant challenges, from a population growth of 4.2% per annum, or to the fact that 38% of our deaths of children in the city are the result of malaria or malaria-related diseases, or even perhaps more alarmingly, the fact that when I came into office, only 6% of liquid waste was being collected and only 20% of solid waste. So you can begin to get a picture. All of this in a backdrop of broken processes and insufficient systems. So we got together and worked over a course of 9 months, engaging 15,000 of our residents, but also bringing together what I later found out to be SDG 17, bringing together the public sector, the private sector, social actors, and developing our hashtag Transform Freetown, which is our 4-year plan for the transformation of our city. Subsequently, in documenting what we've done, we took Transform Freetown, which is 4 clusters and 11 priority sectors, and we mapped it against the SDGs, and we were hitting every SDG. So what this tells you is that the SDGs is a platform for addressing real challenges that cities face. So it gives us the framework, but it gives us the consistent language. And in Freetown now, we're really pleased that within those 11 sectors, our 19 targets include building 5,000 houses, introducing a landfill site to deal with the methane and the emissions from uncollected waste, but also practical things or, additional things like job creation, 4,000 jobs. The SDGs today are not a theoretical exercise for local councils. They are us doing our jobs, but enabling us to do it in a framework that each of us can relate to, no matter where in the world we are, and the reporting of them through the local voluntary reviews enables us to continue on our process of accountability and transparency that we all want to allow to happen, because it keeps the fire under our feet and it keeps us doing our job. So we're thrilled and very grateful to New York City for creating this platform to enable us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mayor, we are so excited to have you here. I know you have been leading on localizing the SDGs for years. We would love to hear your story, please.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank New York City for bringing us together and taking the initiative. What we heard from the young ambassador and, of course, what we heard at the UN summit, we have to do better. We have to accelerate, and we have to have more ambitious. We have to be more ambitious on a global scale. And what we all know is that cities are decisive, and cities can lead the way. And SDG 11 is in the heart of the whole SDG progress, and it's the biggest lever of the SDGs. But there's a prerequisite for the cities that they can do their job. Cities have to be empowered. Decentralization, local self-government, devolution of power, and a real multi-level governance are indispensable tools to accelerate development. And that's, I think, one important message from our stage and from this meeting. In our city, we have a program, we think global and act local and global too. And this is the city, and we developed a mission statement, Mannheim 2030, for localizing all the 17 SDGs. And we have a similar program in Freetown for 2 years with 2,500 participants with all the stakeholders. And this is now our basic document, and it's already directly linked to our budget planning. So it's SDGs on a daily basis as part of our budget planning and all our processes. And we are presenting now for the first time a VLR to the United Nations and to our constituency. And we described how we managed to come to our mission statement and what our indicators are and what our measures are. And we have 3 questions. Firstly, how do we implement the Sustainable Development Goals in our city? Secondly, how can we assure that our local activities have no negative impact on a global scale? And thirdly, how can we support other cities in reaching the goals through city-to-city corporations? And of our 322 measures, 9 are related to this third goal, so in city-to-city cooperations as a dimension of sustainable development goals, especially SDG number 17. We will present also a program to accelerate CO2 reduction. I want to mention 2 measures. One is decarbonizing our district heating system, which is one of the biggest in West Europe. And the second is to remove all the remaining stuffs in our local housing company. So we are taking responsibility on a local basis to a sustainable transformation, and thanks again for the City of New York, and we are proud to be part of this strong local movement and with all the cities present today.
Excellent, thank you. And now, I'm very excited to invite the mayors to sign the declaration. Now, I'd love to invite Amelia and the head of UN Habitat to come. We would love to take a photo. Perfect. Now, Alex? Great. This is Alexandra Hineker. She is the Director of Global Vision Urban Action. Yeah, she's like the proper, can I say badass here? Badass here. So, oh, you have it, oh yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So through the voluntary local review declaration, I've had, the voluntary local review process, I've had the privilege of working with so many great colleagues, both from New York City, many of who are here today, and also local and regional government representatives from around the world. So I'd now like to invite some of those local and regional government representatives to come up here and share your city's commitment to the voluntary local review declaration. We have a representative from Barcarena, Brazil. I'll get out of the way. From Los Angeles, California. From Montevideo, Uruguay. And from Yokohama, Japan. And now we're going to have a photo moment. Great, and now I'd like to acknowledge the many local and regional governments that have committed but weren't able to be with us here in the room today. We have Amman, Jordan, Barcelona, Spain, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Georgetown, Guyana, Cape Town, South Africa, Orlando, United States of America, Kazan, Russia, Malmo, Sweden, Santa Ana, Costa Rica, Santa Fe, Argentina, Santana de Parnaíba, Brazil, and Stockholm, Sweden.
Excellent. we are going to conclude right now. It has really been an extraordinary sort of year and a half getting us here. We have about 20 cities that have signed up. And one thing that I really want to point out, especially to the people that are watching this, that are thinking about urging their local governments to get involved, the way that New York City created the voluntary local review, we purposely kept the barrier for entry low. Every city that has already committed to it are innovating in their own way. But at the end of the day, we recognize that reporting on all 17 goals every year is going to be a lot. What we have decided to do is to do a voluntary local review every year on the SDGs that are being highlighted during the high-level political forum. So this last year, it was education and decent work. And we were able to really lean into what New York City is doing on those issues. And we just really want to ensure that, no matter where you are, the size of your city or town, what region of the world you come in, you know that you have a space in this voluntary local review movement. It really is so extraordinary to be here, to see it come together. Please reach out to my office or to the other colleagues you saw on stage today who you know are actively involved with the voluntary local review, and please get involved. We are the change that we need to see happen. So we are very, very excited to keep this momentum going. Thank you so much.